won in games. They're in 3rd place in the standings. But V5, they've also got 3 wins on the board. If they can win this one today, it'll push them up to 4-1, and they will snag 3rd place away from RNG.
That would be such a beautiful thing for V5, especially when we saw them struggling a little bit, but certainly bouncing back well. However, I want to see where Weiwei starts here. I'm actually imagining he'll start on his bottom side, full clear, and then path in towards his top. As Udyr, you can take all 3 camps on bot side, then just run straight top on that level 3 and try and run people down with this bear stance. However, on the opposite side for Wei, you can see he's also going to be starting on this bottom side. So we are going to get a lot of attention up towards this top lane. And that's where I think from literally on this 3rd wave crash that Xiaohu will be trying to go for, Audi could be in trouble.
I'm really curious if we get some kind of shenanigans from PP God as well, whether we see a super early roam up towards the top half of the map. We'll have to wait and see. I don't want to set false expectations. So we're expecting our junglers to be pathing towards the top side. We're expecting maybe some mid lane roams early on as well. But as you can see, our junglers have started on this bottom side of the map. They are beginning the clear in that expected route. Ooh, nice pulverized from Ming there. Denies the engage. Another trade heavily onto Y4 here. Ultimately still goes the way of V5.
Yeah, you can see, though, that RNG are already doing their RNG things, right? We're talking about playing heavily towards Xiao in the top lane. Ming coming in on this more aggressive engage support. Like, this is perfect for RNG. The only thing I will say with Cryin being swapped onto this Renekton, I love Cryi's Renekton for, like, setting up map plays and lane states. However, his Renekton in team fights isn't very good. It's just he's not got that, like, oh, I need to get into this flank position. How do I actually set this up? So expect still for RNG when we do get to team fights to rely heavily on Ming to be that big engage tool for them. However, I like when we start to move in towards this potential dive in the top lane. Cryi's been shoved in pretty hard in this mid lane. So when we look at the potential for Cryin to join in on that play top side, he's not really going to be there. So it means that we're probably just going to get Xiaohu crash the wave and walk away.
You see you can see Mole going for an early recall there. Does cancel it in the end and goes back to clearing away the waves. And Wei is going to have a fairly quick clear here as he finishes off about 3 minutes. Wei, a very similar time on this one as the last Krug is finished. Heading towards this top scuttle. Looks like Wei is going to meet him there. We could have the Wei versus Wei battle here in the river. Looks like Wei, he's backing up.
It's not going to be even, though. Cryin, he only has to manage his health bars, Renekton. Whereas Mole, you have to manage...
Oh, Audi's getting dived. Xiao, who goes for the solo kill. He's tanked the tower for way too long. That is a questionable decision, but hey, I like the pizzazz.
Hey, you get the kill, you deny some of that CS and experience. It's a win for Xiaohu. And honestly, like, Xiaohu is going to be way more impactful in these team fights when it comes from a damage perspective than the likes of Audi is. So I actually like that play. I think it's really smart. And the big thing as well is that by shoving in aggressively, you guarantee that top lane scuttle for Wei. Wei's also moved in, got that deep ward there for Xiaohu to start playing even more aggressive around. So this is a pretty big win for RNG.
So what you're saying is Xiaohu purposely traded 1-4-1 because dying is faster than recalling this early on in the game. I got it. I'm there with you, Dagda. Don't worry about it. Let's have a quick... Sorry, go on.
If you deny a few CS and experience as well, I mean, it's all good in my books. I'm happy with that.
Xiaohu takes those every single time. Audi does still have his flash, so slight summoner advantage up there as Cryin gets a cheeky little trade onto Mole there. I want to recap on the junglers, though, because Wei, he's gone and cleared his bottom quadrant. Now he's recalling to grab himself those, not ninja tabbies, plated steel caps, in fact. I'm trying to battle with years of muscle memory there. Wei still on the map. He's already recalled once, and now he's moving up towards top side again.
So what I imagine we're going to see is from Wei, he's going to go basically for the armor. He's going to go towards Turbo Chem Tank. Then we get the Dead Man's Plate, and he's a speedy L boy, although...
Oh, hang on. Mole's flashing in. They're going straight on towards Wei, who's flashed out of the fray, and he's damn quick, so we'll be able to escape from this one as Cryin tries to chase this down. In the meantime, Xiaohu, Audi's found himself some revenge on this. I don't know how it happened, but he grabs himself the solo kill.
I think it looks like you just got clipped by that boomerang, and with no flash, Xiaohu just gets chased down. So a brilliant job from Audi, who, honestly, we don't usually see these solo kills from. He's usually the more quieter, weak side top laner, but Audi's come to play today, and I love this.
And I have to say, we haven't seen any jungle influence on that top lane just yet. Bear in mind, Herald will come up in a couple of minutes, so keep your eyes peeled, because as we said before, that's exactly how V5 plays.
Yeah, they definitely do. We're just looking at this top lane play. It looks like Audi just about able to clip Xiaohu with that Mega Gnar. So beautiful kill from Audi. I want to go back to your jungle point though, because I'm actually looking at Dragon first. Udyrs tend to go for this quick Dragon off their first reset. Now, you've just cleared top side. You're going to be pushing down on this hard on this bottom side as well. And I want to see if Weiwei is going to try and collect this early Dragon. Now, you do need Mole to get a little bit more pressure mid if you want to go for that, but certainly this could be on the cards for V5 and start stacking those early and try and make that a win condition.
Well, Wei is going to be able to at very least trade a Scuttle Crab for it, as Xiao and Audi are just going at it. This is starting to feel personal, Doctor. This is starting to feel like a little bit of a grudge match. Wei wants to dive this top side. They're crashing a reasonably big wave in, but Audi is on the cusp of Mega Gnar here.
Look at Cryin though. Cryin already getting out of range of Mole. He's starting to move up top side, and Audi, the second he sees that, is like, no, I've seen this before. I know what's happening. He will back off. But look at the amount of CS and experience that's being lost. And again, Xiaohu getting these big early leads on this top side. However, Weiwei doing a good job of trading this will steal away the entire bot side jungle of Wei and start to get himself a lead again though. Want to see if he'll take these early dragons, because when you're looking at this 1-3-1 situation from V5, or probably more likely a 1-4 with Mole being the split pusher, collecting these early Drakes just means that you can give across like the second Drake, the third Drake, and delay those timers where you have to actually fight for these objectives and buy a bit more time for this split push to get up and rolling. But it looks like he's not convinced he'll be able to take it, and is just going to back away.
Yeah, it feels like he opted into trying to take away some of the jungle instead of going for that Drake. And now we're 20 seconds away from that Herald getting onto the map here. We've set up the fact that that is generally the strategy for V5. And just remember that V5, yes, they win very fast by snowballing through the Herald. But when they're not able to get the Herald and when they're not able to get that early lead, this is a team that loses games exceptionally quickly. So anticipate that the next few minutes should start to speed up when it comes to the amount of action that we're seeing in the game.
Yeah, and you can already see those moves happening, right? PP got a Ming, a boat roamed up from bot side. I'm surprised to see Y4 sticking in this bottom lane. Usually they will have just shoved in and then rotate Y4 up with them as well on V5 side, but he's actually sticking around now. Potentially going to start moving. Yeah, it looks like he is to try and get this numbers advantage. However, look at where Mole is. Like, Mole is trying to clear out this blue buff solo, so this gives RNG a little bit of time and space here to just start this up. Might be able to burst it down before V5 can react.
You can see Y4 moving up, though. This is what V5 do every single time. They force a brawl for the Herald. It's down to half already as the mid wave is just going to be shoved out. Y4's moving in. Doesn't look like RNG will finish this off before a fight kicks off. The whole squad is here for V5. You can see Gala is about to arrive as well. We've got a team fight on our hands. Curtain Call goes through. They're trying to get shots onto Weiwei. Not landing any just yet, and the Herald is smited away. RNG get the Herald. Mega Gnar isn't going to be found, though. 1-for-1, start the fight. Round warp out of this one. V5 are retreating, but they're snoozing while they warp. They've managed to get away with it with a 1-for-1 trade, but RNG get the Herald.
That is a massive win for RNG. So not only do they get the team fight, not only do they get the Herald, but denying that from V5, both because of how V5 play, and also just with them trying to operate into this split push, you need to break open the map early as V5. You want to make sure you can get that mid lane turret down, unlock Mole, start to get some deep vision, start to crack open these side lane turrets, but you're not able to do that if you don't have this Rift Herald. So big win for RNG there.
Yeah, and that the differences in these fights are minuscule, because if Audi just survives a second or two longer, turns into Mega Gnar, suddenly that's a dramatic team fight win for V5. But when you look at some of the carries on the side of V5, things like this Rise in the early game, he doesn't actually want to be going for these huge fights. He wants to be scaling up. As I wasn't sure if Ming was about to just start a fight on this bottom side then, but opting out of it for now.
Yeah, but you can still see the issues that Gnar is having in the current meta, right? Even though he's our most played top laner, there's still problems with like trying to manage your Gnar bar, trying to actually get into these fights. Like, Alistair's got the headbutt to knock you back out. You've got like the self-peel on this Xayah. You crying as well as able to CC you the second you go in. It becomes very difficult for Audi to actually get these big Nars that you really hope for when you see this pick. And that's why Nara has turned into more kind of a lane-focused pick rather than a team fight pick. And why we'll oftentimes see like the Stride Breakers over Divine Sunder. And it looks like, again, in this matchup, we will end up getting the Stride Breaker here for Audi as well to just focus more on this side lane split push.
Well, we've had one big team fight so far, Dagda, and it was over that first Herald, which I'm pretty pleased about because that is basically all we talked about coming into this matchup. We were hoping they would fight over the Heralds. They've been fighting over the Heralds. However, V5 is a team that almost always wins that fight. Now they've lost that one. What's the next step on the path for V5? What's the alternate strategy? Because we said that they get the Herald, they push through mid, then they win the game. What happens when they don't?
Yeah, well, the game plan for them here that you can already see, getting these early dragons, making sure that RNG's team fighting composition can't just force them to play around that. However, I'm going to hold on to my point as RNG playing towards Xiaohu. Who would have saw that coming?
Yeah, and well, I guess V5 are like, well, if we don't get the Herald, we're just going to go wherever the Herald goes and fight over it anyway, as they force RNG out of the tri-brush. Looks like RNG are just going to opt out of this one, not willing to go for the full-on skirmish. Maybe thinking that they don't want to do it while Mole has that TP available. Well, he's going to find a sleep onto PP God here as Ming is ready to follow up. The Slumber Slam is there. PP God is damn tanky, and now he goes straight in. Gnarl onto everybody. Huge fight for V5 started off, but actually their health bars are going down. Jin getting shots in, but doesn't do any damage as Wei flashes out of this one. Audi trying to chase things up. He's in mini Nar as Wei gets the stun. Crying goes down. Wei trying to gallop away. He's there. The deer and the cow trying to escape through the woods, but the bear is chasing them down. So is the weird yodel creature. I don't know what that one's called, but RNG will escape with that one. 5 for 3 all in all.
You can see both these teams have done their homework, right? RNG are fighting for Rift Heralds. V5 are reading that first tower participation for Xiaohu. 100%. They want to again give him all this extra gold, but V5 are in position to fight back.
Ooh.
Audi gonna take a bit of a back scratcher there, but won't go down. However, the big difference in that fight was Y4's position. Y4 had backed, and it actually started to teeter up towards this mid lane before moving down towards bot side because he wasn't 100% sure if we were going to get this play from RNG. So great read from V5 to get some of that gold and control of this map back in their favor.
Beautifully done here by V5 to answer whatever RNG try and do on the map. And it again, every single play that we're seeing across this map is Wei versus Wei, trying to read each other, trying to match each other around the map.
Exactly. However, this is going to start to move away from this. We're going to start to see V5 again looking to set up the split push. You can see it now. Looks like they do pop the Rift Herald down here to just break open the last of this bottom lane structure. But look at the build that's coming in here from Mole. This is a very Mole unique build. He is going towards the Rift Maker. He likes to use this in the split push because it gives him so much dueling capability thanks to just how tanky you get with the Omni Vamp and everything else that's in, and the true damage as well that you get makes it very difficult for you to trade effectively as like, say, Cryin or even Xiaohu in these situations. So I think we're going to end up seeing them start to continue racking up these dragons, or at least stopping RNG from starting up the third dragon, the fourth dragon, where you really need to fight as V5. But we're getting back to this team fight here, where you can see just Y4 is in a beautiful position. Wandered up mid lane, was like, right, I know that there's probably going to be some funny business happening on this RNG squad. And on the minimap, he was just wandering back and forth, trying to go like, do I go bot? Where am I supposed to be right now? But he made the right call and ends up turning that play around.
Yeah, and Garlo was still chilling bot during all of that. But because Garlo is chilling bot, it means that the first tower goes to RNG. And I want to remind you guys of a statistic me and Dagda were throwing back and forth. RNG have a 100% win rate when they get the first tower. V5 get the first tower 91% of the time, but now they're looking for a team fight as well. Teleport comes in, and RNG looking good in this one as PP got forced to flash out. The curtain call, it's just going to be soaked up mostly by Ming here. Both teams back away for now. Xiaohu arriving from the bottom side. RNG in position to just start this Drake off, and now it's down to V5 to try and face check in. They're not going to be able to get in time, though. Drake goes down. Wei maybe just needs to leave. Audi's about to turn Mega, though. If he can find the ulti, that would be the way into the fight. He's turning into that Mega Nar. Gala stepping on forwards. V5 opt out of the play.
They're still hovering here. Like, this is the problem that I have with V5, all right? Actually, hold on.
Oh, here we go. Solar Flare in. They're trying to get onto Way, but he's got a Zhonya's. And now they're calling shredding through this squad. V5 getting so damn low. And the Renekton from Cryin just slicing through everybody. This is beautiful from RNG. And it feels like V5, they just don't have the damage in these fights.
This is the problem with V5. This is why I love to hate V5, because they'll go for these early Rift Herald plays. If they don't work out, they don't know what to do. Like, they're playing a split push composition. We just said, hey, you get that first dragon? Right. Move away from the rest of the dragons. Give them over towards RNG. You just wanted to buy time to get better map position. So instead, they tried to fight against the team fight composition of RNG. They lose 2 or maybe even 3 waves actually now in this top side, thanks to posturing around this dragon. And it's just, these are not the plays you want to make as V5. Play the map state. Try and open up control of this game, but instead, they're just walking straight into the hands of RNG.
And, you know, we talked about how V5, they usually get that first tower of the game. They usually get that first herald of the game. But now, when they don't get those, it feels like they don't quite know how to play this mid-game. RNG on the opposite side, though, they're incredibly intelligent. They play their compositions beautifully.
Yeah, and you can see here, Audi does try and go in on towards Wei, but actually misses the Gnar ult because Wei goes golden. But even then, like, I don't like Ryze in team fights, because all he does is, like, pump all of his damage into the front line, and it's really difficult for him to have access to the back line. He's much stronger in these side lanes, where he's able to shove waves really effectively, chip down towers. His 1v1 potential is really, really good, but in a team fight, just not there. So as V5, do not opt in towards these team fights. What you want to do is use Ryze to get your turrets down, use Audi to get the turrets down, and let RNG pick up 2-3 Drakes. And then at that stage, when you've got all this extra gold coming in from the towers and all the extra CS that you picked up, then you can look to fight.
And it does feel reminiscent, doesn't it, of the E-Star lineup when we look at this RNG squad, not just in terms of, obviously we got Wei and Cryin from E-Star, that's why it feels reminiscent, but also in the way that this squad now plays, is grouping up and finding these fights together, finding intelligent skirmishes. That was what was so exciting about E-Star, was when they grouped up and went for these bot lane dives or top lane dives. It was all about the team play, and it feels very much the same story with this RNG squad.
And again, I mean, it's the kind of the bread and butter that we've got going for RNG now. I mean, get Xiaohu ahead, go towards these more teamfight oriented plays, and then when we step away from that, oh, hang on, Xiaohu.
Oh, Xiaohu messed up his dash over the wall, flash available, but Audi's gonna chase it. The boomerang doesn't quite get the proc. Oh, it's a heartbreak for Audi. He misplayed it just a little bit.
However, you can see what the game plan is for Xiaohu. This is what I was about to say. When there's no objectives on the map, they'll stick Xiaohu back in this top lane. Look at the deep vision control that's there for RNG. They're all about getting this control in towards the enemy jungle and allowing Xiaohu to go for this split push. So we'll kind of see the collect and group concept coming in from RNG, and then they can look to go for like the dragon in a minute. With all these first mythics that are coming through, they are so much stronger than V5.
V5 a little out of sorts now. 6,000 gold lead. We're at 19 minutes. There's a 6,000 gold lead. That is really difficult. As you rightly say, the herald in the hand of Wei on top of everything else is going to make this very difficult for V5. We've said how they struggle a little bit in the mid game when they can't snowball. We've said how they're incredibly fast at winning. They're incredibly fast at losing as well. We talked about how they're not playing towards their win conditions so far this game. I'm not going to lie, Dagda, I wouldn't be too surprised if that just continues now. If we just see them try and force these 5v5s, even though it's not really what their comp wants.
Yeah, it's really difficult as V5 now, because there goes second Rift Herald as well, going in favor of RNG, pop down mid. You can't really get control of the map because they've just got too much pressure as RNG. And they can't dive your turrets. They have an Alistar. Like, Alistar's great at diving turrets.
Look how quickly RNG are snowballing this game. They just got the tier 2 in the mid lane. They just get the tier 2 in the bottom lane at the same time. An extra charge onto the inhib tower mid. Now they can move over towards the Drake. In the meantime, Mole is up in the top lane, but you're on Ryze. There's no real pressure onto this tier 2. There's no real threat. So RNG are like, yeah, we'll take that trade any day.
I think this is the best way for V5 to play, though. They know that, look, we're going to lose these outer turrets. Let's just give them now and try and see if we can get some gold on towards Mole. Because as we said, Mole is going to be the big split pusher. And if you can get these tier 2s down and buy a bit of space for yourself, you're in a much better spot as V5. But the problem is it's too little too late at this stage. They needed to give up that last dragon so they could make that play work. Then they could have already that top lane turret down. Already Mole is pretty much probably taking that tier 2 in the top side, and now you're putting pressure onto inhibitor turrets. However, now it's a tier 2 that RNG don't really care about. They've got Cryin pumping out these waves as well. Like, you're in a fine position now as RNG to push all this back out and then start to threaten Baron.
Yep, start to threaten Baron. You can also threaten the top tier 2. I mean, if there's a bit of a misposition on the Baron, like if V5 get in position to try and, you know, contest the Baron and RNG can get the inside track on that mid lane, Baron, that Herald already got a charge. They could just run it straight up mid and just take it in him if V5 mispositioned. So it's now become quite a dicey situation for V5, and they need to look for something magical. This is V5 though. If there's anything we know about V5, this team is based around magic. This team is based around the faith in PP God. PP God's been an exceptional support so far this split, so maybe there's some kind of miracle pick that can happen.
Yeah, I think that's maybe their best bet here is you can have, like, if Ryze is split pushy, maybe you can go for some sort of play with Wei, trying to, or even, sorry, Audi, just trying to see if they can use the double TP that they have available to make these plays and pick someone off. But it becomes very, very difficult with the threat that RNG have on this Baron. And don't forget, like, their Baron take is insanely quick. Between the double AD carry, the burn on Wei, the damage that Cryin can churn out. Like, if you leave this for 10 seconds, it's as good as gone.
Yeah, and when we've kind of ignored Gala all game as well, because he's been on this side, he's been farming off on the other side of the map, but he's on 2 items now. When he gets towards 3 as well, he's going to be a monster in these skirmishes. As you rightly said, they can just threaten this Baron. Zaya's incredibly good at that. You've got the dots coming out from Wei. Is Wei props the turbo chem tank, but doesn't find a way in.
Yeah, where's the threat here, though? Where, like, what are V5 doing, really? All they're giving is Cryin an opportunity to push at the spot wave. I mean, they get the engage here,
There's
but
the threat.
PP God...
Going on to Mig, apparently. PP God has gone way too deep. Solar Flare completely whiff. And now there's a TP from Audi, who's jumped onto the roll-up. That was actually clean. That was real nice from Audi and Mole. It doesn't matter. They still lose the fight, but hey, it was nice.
Yeah, I mean, cool. They got out of there, but...
Hang on, here we go. Featherstorm aggressively. Swirl Seed hits onto Mole. The sleep's already been used, though, so no threat there. Wei is trying to chase Mole down. Another Swirl Seed. It goes wide. Mole gets out.
Yeah, V5 need to figure out what they do when they don't get Rift Heralds. Like, this just is... It just seems like they don't know... They don't have a game plan. And, like, this all stems back to, like, kind of 2 big fights. There was obviously the first Rift Herald fight where Y4 didn't get out of that bottom lane fast enough, which meant that they got the full 5v5 as RNG and won. Where... Hang on.
Oh, Xiaohu's in trouble. Flashes away. Mole can't get in range.
But this is what I mean. It's like they get to these situations where you've lost that first fight. The second fight where they try and go for the second dragon ends up going to Rise well because they're trying to fight 5v5. And now you've just got this massive gold lead for RNG. And they're trying to make desperation plays like this. TPing Mole in, flashing onto Xiaohu, trying to make any sort of pick happen. But now you're just... no TPs available on V5 side. And your flash is now gone on Mole.
That's a 2-for-1 summoner trade that they made. Both flashes, and Xiaohu still has his TP, as you just said. Now, RNG can take anything they want. They're even taking these red buffs. PP God going to be knocked up. He doesn't even get to use his Eclipse. Doesn't even get to be the tank. He just gets shredded. And when your tank is that squishy, it's not a good sign, Dagda. RNG get to just move over towards the Baron now.
Yeah, they'll be able to absolutely shred this and still be able to fight towards this dragon that's about to spawn in 30 seconds as well. But this is you're just too far gone at this stage. V5 have dug themselves a hole, and now they're desperately trying to get out.
All right. V5, last ditch attempt here. Audi's turning into Mega Gnar. Maybe there's an opportunity. Doesn't even go into the pit though. They're just going to fight after the Baron has gone down. I feel like this is not the play, V5. Way is on the backside and he's swinging his shillelagh around. The double AD carries come up big. 13-6, and this is clean from RNG.
And they're getting everything. They get the Baron, they get the fight. Xiao wants to get bot lane inhibitor turret while Wei is going towards Dragon. This is what is beautiful about RNG. You give them an inch, they will take a mile, probably 10. This is what I love about this team. Understanding their composition, how to force you into unfavorable situations, and just how much they can eke out of every little drop. It is such a joy to see.
Yeah, the speed at which they snowball these games out of control is honestly so impressive to watch. And, you know, I was one of the naysayers for RNG. I was one of the people that said, you know, this isn't going to work out. Put in a mid laner to the top lane. It's not going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But honestly, it's no longer just like, you know, oh, I'm going to pick Orianna top and cheese. It's like, this is so much more than just a random couple of strats coming out from RNG.
Exactly. And look, we're going to get a replay here, but it's a 4 versus 5 fight with the gold lead that RNG have. This was never going to go well for V5. And a lot of this, as we said, stems back to RNG punishing mistakes that V5 made. And if V5 aren't able to play towards their own compositional strengths and are still heavily reliant on this Rift Herald play, that's the problem that stopped them in playoffs in summer. That's the problem that stopped them getting Worlds, is that teams figured out, hey, these are just a one-track team. They're going to go for this 5-man play at Rift Herald. We're going to be able to fight them at it. As long as we're prepared for this play, V5 don't know what to do. And again, we're seeing this here where not playing through the 1-4 that we talked about, trying to fight RNG who had a lead and have a better composition for it. It's upsetting to see V5 when I know how many fans have such high hopes for this team.
I feel like a huge portion of this loss is down to things like the Rise pick as well, that realistically you don't want to be fighting in the early. You don't want to be in these skirmishes when that's the bread and butter for V5. That they want to be fighting for that first Herald. Here we go though, onto the tower. RNG want to end this one. They want to put the final nail in the coffin. Apparently it's Wei's coffin as he's the first one to go down. The Realm Warp comes on through, but it's not going to happen. Third inhib falls. This is going to be game here as RNG push in one last time. Last ditch attempt here for V5. 3 versus 5. And I think that might be 2 in just a moment as Mole's gone golden, but he's gone down as well. The sleep comes through onto Audi, the root, as well as Gala. Finally gets a bit of action for himself. He's shredded them on the fountain, and they're going to shred this Nexus down.